Hey, it's Ruben here with Equipped Devotions. And I have a quick word for you here, but real quick, make sure to like this video and follow us here on TikTok. So in the book of First John, chapter 3, John instructs us in verse 18 says, "Let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth." And as I meditated on this word, I went back and I remembered some events in my life over the past couple of years. And I thought of the time in 2016 when my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And during that time frame, I had a certain individual in my life who, would come up to me and say, "Hey, man, I love you, pray for you, let me know how I can help you." And in the course of our interaction, continue to say the words, "I love you." Fast forward to 2017, my mom passes away from that cancer, and this same person would come up to me and say, "Hey man, whatever you need, let me know. I'm just a phone call away. I'll bring you whatever you need." Even talked about dropping off meals to my family. And when I actually needed him, he was nowhere to be found. He showed love in word only and didn't put the action in there. And to stick with the same timeline, I remember a pastor in my life who hardly ever told me he loved me. He would say, "Hey man, appreciate you. It's good seeing you around," all that stuff. But in the action that he walked out in his day-to-day life, he showed me his love for myself and my family, to the fact that when my mom was passing away, he actually came to the hospital at like 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning, right before he went up to preach, to be with me and my mom and my father, and walked us through that process. Contrasting those two stories, you see somebody who says, "I love you," and doesn't follow through with it, but then you see somebody who occasionally shows his appreciation for you, showing love for you. In verse 17 of First John chapter 3, we see John also saying, essentially, what good is it to tell somebody you love them, but when they need you, you're nowhere around? James also talks about that, where he talks about, hey, somebody comes to you and says they're cold. It's raining right now in Southern California. If someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, I'm cold, hope you get warm," what good is that? If somebody comes up to me and asks me and says, "Hey, I'm hungry," and I say, "I hope you find some food," there's no follow through with that. However, if someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, I'm hungry," and you buy that man a cheeseburger, in the words of our pastor, then you're acting out in love. So First John chapter 3, verse 18, "Let us not love in word and speech alone, but in action and in truth." And so I encourage you, when you want to show somebody that you love them, you want to show them the love of Christ through you, don't just speak it, live it out.